Hey, how you guys doing? It's about time to make a new video on the Revell Build and Play Star Destroyer, the 1/4000 scale. Got all the fibers in and got it all buttoned up. It's not permanently mounted. I just got the brass rod in there for the time being until I make, excuse me, until I make my custom base for it. Haven't decided. I got a couple different ideas. Something I want to do, kind of maybe like a asteroid type base. I got a big hunk of foam that I may carve out and do a little bit of lighting and stuff on it from underneath and stuff to give it like a little glow and stuff. But I'm not in a real big rush for that. But probably it'll probably be done in a couple of weeks and stuff once I get to it next week. But I just wanted to take a video of the finished model with all the fibers in there. There's actually, as I was inserting all the fibers through the holes, there's actually 1,062 holes that I drilled with fibers inserted in them and stuff. And just for an example, just this here area along here, the different levels, there's 170 fibers just in that area alone. So the other side 170, then the front and the back, the sides, the bottom, the top of the bridge, all that stuff. They add up pretty quick. I didn't realize I was drilling that many when I was doing it. It took me about 3 evenings to drill all those holes while watching TV and all that, and it took me probably about a good 4 or 5 days to insert all the fibers and all that, with gluing them in, making sure the glue is all set up and stuff before I start going on to the next area. But I'm real happy the way it turned out. I'm doing this video in just daylight, normal room lighting, no lights or anything. I wanted to kind of show the model and the fiber optics without as much glare as you do at nighttime. It seems like at night the fiber you get a little bit more glare and washout and stuff. So I wanted to get a little crisper video to show you guys all what it looks like. But this is all what you can do with that Revell the 1/4000 scale build and play. If you put your mind to it and you're into doing detailing and, you know, I guess upgrading and stuff like that, you can really turn it into a nice looking model. And tell you the truth, if you look at some of the models on YouTube on different videos, some of the bigger ones and stuff, I think this turned out just as well, if not, you know, not better. But anyway, I think there's about, I got about 25 LEDs in there. That's counting the engines and the different groupings of light and stuff. You can only fit so many fibers in with one LED. With the size tubes that I use for them and stuff, they're 5mm tubes. I can get about 120 fibers in each one. So I got quite a few LEDs in there. Plus I got a couple of little extra additions that I did just to be a little bit different than some of the other models and stuff that I've seen. So, but this is the Star Destroyer. First thing I did a little bit of experiment with my fibers. Now all these fiber optics are 0.25mm, so I wanted to keep them all in scale and not be too big for the size of the model that it is and stuff. But I used 0.50mm fibers in a couple areas. The first area I used them in, I was experimenting, and if you kind of see, I got a little bit bigger fiber there, and it's got like a little bit of a light up effect for that area. That's actually a 0.50mm fiber, and instead of blossoming the end, which you take and you heat it up, and it kind of gets a little flat head on it, and it kind of spreads the light out a little bit more. I let it catch fire and put it out real quick, and I got a little bead on the end of it, and it works almost like a floodlight. In the dark, you can kind of see it a lot better. I'm going to try to shadow a little bit, but in the dark you can tell it kind of lights up that area a little bit more. And then I've got another one up there in that little section of the ship, and then there's another one up front a little bit more. And it's not real, you know, outstanding. I mean, they don't stick out like the bigger models. You see, it looks like the whole area's lit up, but it gives it a little cool effect, kind of like, you know, the more expensive most of them guys do on the resin kits and stuff like that. And I'm kind of happy the way that turned out, and a little bit of experiment once in a while doesn't hurt. That there, I just opened that up. There's like, it's like a little hangar bay or something. I cut out the door, and I just got a 3mm diffused cool white LED back there to light that area up and stuff. So that's how I got that. That's a little bit bigger area that's usually highlighted. So that's all of that. You take a look from the top and all that, and I've got all those areas lit up along there. Spin it around. Here's a front view, the bridge and all that. I might have overdone it on the bridge. There's 75 fibers just in that bridge face alone and stuff. So that's another big grouping. I think down in this area here, there's probably like close to another 60 over there. There's quite they added up quite a bit. I wanted to really light this up and all that and make it look pretty decent, realistic, like the more expensive and larger kits, and only on a smaller scale, since I don't have the room for too many big kits, because those big 350th Enterprises, they take up quite a bit of space. But there's that side, everything on there, and I got the same effect. You can see that effect over there. Turned out real nice with that little floodlight effect that I kind of come up with. And there's another one over there. And then the underside from this end. Got that all finished up. We'll spin around a little bit more. There's the back end. I got my little LED in there, the red one, and I got it really resistor down so it's not real bright like a high beam headlight or something. It's just, you know, just bright enough to light it up, but dim enough so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb and all that. There's my three main engines. Those are 5mm cool white flickering LEDs. I weathered the inside of the engine nozzles very lightly, and then with those little blue inserts and stuff, they give me like a little kind of pretty like more like an ice blue effect and everything. Kind of what the studio model more or less has, not quite on the blue side and all that. I like the way that turned out. Now my four other engines, I've got those are going to be on a momentary switch. Right now I'm just playing with the wires. So those are going to be able to, you know, have their own power, and I'll be able to turn them on and off when I want. Most of the time, you know, if I just want to show it off, I'll just have the three main engines on. Those will come on with the ship lighting, and those will work. The four smaller ones, I believe those are referred to as maneuvering thrusters. That'll be on a separate switch under their own power. So that's those. Turn her back around, and now all these all my ship lighting and all that, I run my LEDs. The cool white LEDs are to run them off of 12 volts. You need to use a 470 ohm resistor. And what I did after I wired them all up and everything, got everything connected, finalized in there, I added another a 510 ohm resistor, because I didn't want the lights to be too bright all the time. I wanted them to be more, like I said, I'm trying to work and keep everything in scale. And those are real small fibers. I think I used the number 80 drill, which is about 11 thousandths. The fibers are just probably about 10 and a half to 11 thousandths. They're very fine and all that. So all in all, there's probably about 320 of fibers. I probably used about 500 feet, but after trimming and everything, I run them long so that way I can get them to where I want and not have any kinks or bends. And then I snip off the excess. I got enough. I can do another, you know, smaller model of a different type or something. I got enough fibers. I can use, you know, I can use the cutoff ends that I use, but I like to go long with them. And that way, if I got to stretch them a little further to get the LED in a place where there's room and all that, most all the fibers and LEDs are all in this here section here on the top and on the bottom half. So that's all open in here. It's a little bit crammed up here because of the shuttle bay and all that. Then it gets tighter and narrow up here, so you can't really bunch them. So pretty much I ran all the strands from front to back and all that. So everything's nicely grouped in an area where there's a lot of room. Nothing's getting crimped or smashed or taking a chance of bending any fibers and stuff and all that. But I resisted all the main lighting down, so that way even at night it'll still glare more at night in the dark on camera, and all that, but they're not super bright as if I was just to leave them wired up regularly with the 470 ohms. It's like when I do the big starships, those are bigger windows, so you want more light, popping through. But on something this, you don't want it to be like a giant billboard or floodlight, advertising a car sale or something like that, So I resisted all those down and all that. So let me tip her back a little bit. And before I tip her back and start showing you the shuttle bay and all that stuff, I did do a little bit extra feature. I thought I wanted to do something different. I used some extra fast flashing clear green. They're called True Green LEDs. And these will be hooked to a momentary switch too. But I did the laser fire effect in there. And I think that turned out pretty wild. It's like when you hit it'll be the momentary switch. As soon as you touch it, let go, they'll shut off. They'll turn on, shut off, turn on, shut off. I thought that would be a pretty cool feature to throw in there. I got 3 of them up here, and I got one a little further back in that. And I did that on both sides. I thought that was pretty cool. And there's another one back there on that side. And like I said, those will be on a momentary switch, so they're not going to stay on all the time. It'll just be quick hit of a button, it'll flash a few times like they're firing, and then shut off. And then you hit it again, so on and so forth. But I thought that would be a little cool effect. For those, I used 0.50 millimeter fiber optic strands, and I did blossom the ends of them and all that to give them a little bit more lighted area and stuff like that. But I thought that was pretty cool effect. And what I did with those, and also these little floodlight areas that I did, what I did with those, I drilled the holes on an angle toward the back of the model, so that way they're kind of facing forward. So like with those little laser firing weapons deals, you barely see them if you look straight on from the side. You almost don't know they're there. But if you turn the ship more at an angle, front at an angle, you'll see them more. So, and the same with those floodlights. I wanted them to kind of light up facing forward the area. So that's what I did with those. I did them so that when I inserted the fibers, they're facing towards the front of the ship, rather than just straight out. They wouldn't have given me that little lit up area like that. So, but all in all, I think it turned out pretty cool. This was a lot of fun to build. It was not a challenge. It was a lot of work, a lot of time spent, doing the fibers, drilling the holes. The holes weren't as bad as inserting all the fibers, waiting for glue to dry. Other than that, I think it only took me pretty much, I'd say 2 weeks to complete. From the time I popped it out of the box and start modifying different areas that I had cut out to make room for things and all that. And, it only took me a matter of 2 weeks. I kind of did a lot of reference from studio photos of the studio model and stuff like that. I didn't like the sides, the back of the bridge or the sides of the neck. The studio model really didn't show any lighting back there. It was mainly all on the front. Another thing I did use some red fibers, but being I got them bundled together with a bunch of white ones, I only had a handful of red ones mixed in. The white fibers, they do bleed when they the first couple inches when they come out of the LED tube, they do show some light. And what happened is they washed out the red fibers. The red fibers are lit, but they're just showing white because the white fibers, the clear fibers, are too overpowering and stuff. So what I may end up doing, it's no big deal. I'm happy with the way it turned out either way. But what I may end up doing is going in there with a toothpick and just dabbing the tip of a few fibers here and there with some red, clear red Model Masters acrylic. And just to give a few of them here and there some color and stuff. But like I says, if not, it's no big deal. I think it looks good either way. And all that underneath my shuttle bay. It turned out real nice. All the detail in there. You can really tell it's lit up and everything and all. Like I says, I did those two little grabber arms. It's probably not going to want to focus too well. There they are. I did those two little grabber arms with piano wire and the small shuttle bay. All I did was Where'd she go? I just took and I dabbed the ends of the fibers before I inserted them into the with the LED. I just dabbed a little bit of clear blue to kind of match up with the other shuttle bay and all that. So that's all real nice. All the areas on the bottom that are lit all the way around. Don't mind my fish in the background. And all that area. Same on the other side. That middle island. All them little greebles on there, where all them little greebles are on and stuff. So all in all, I think it turned out to be a pretty nice looking build. Nice looking representation of a Star Destroyer. The detail on here is very nice. It's very well done and all that for the small kit. I know a lot of guys complained about it, that there's a lot of problems. You know, the side trench may be a little too thin, but I don't really think it's that bad. You can still squeeze a bunch of fiber optics in there and stuff. You know, I wanted some areas to be lit up more than others, and I wanted to have some gaps in there, you know, not just one big constant ribbon of light and stuff. I think, you know, there's a point where you can overdo it and all that. I didn't want to go too far with them, so there's a few areas where I left no fibers and all that, and a few areas where I just might have it one or two and all that. And I did the other side. Now both sides of this, they're not exactly the same. I noticed that. I thought they'd be identical copies, you know, just flip vice versa, but they're not actually both the same. They got one side has little bit different detail in some areas than the other side. So but that's pretty much it. I know I'm not holding the camera in one spot. I'm using my cell phone again. That's why it's not focusing real crisp and clear. But I think in the daylight like this, you're getting a better idea actually of what I've got done to it and all that. And you know, without all the wash. Like I said, once I finish my base up and that, or maybe before I finish the base, I'll do another one in a little bit more darker surroundings and stuff, environment, and show you how they look at night, and you know, in a low lighting situation. But I just wanted to do this real quick and give you guys an idea what I got done and everything. And now as far as assembly, like I told you, the type of glue I used, I glue different parts together so they wouldn't come apart and all that. As far as the two halves of the hull, I used canopy glue. The pins, I got a little paint on them, so they're a little bit more than a press fit. They held together pretty good. But like I said, I got a lot of stuff bulked up in there, and right along in here, it wanted to kind of squeeze, you know, open up a little bit, spread a little bit once I closed her up. And that was the only part I had a problem with. So basically, I wanted to keep this so if something comes up and LED should go out on me, or for some reason, or I got some other issue with the internals, the wiring or something, which I shouldn't. Everything's buttoned down real nice with hot glue and stuff. But I can pop it open without damaging everything. And like a regular plastic cement wouldn't stick. The only thing you can use is that plastic weld. But when you run plastic weld along a seam like this, the fibers, being that they're so close to the seams, that plastic weld, that plastic cement, that'd eat right through the fibers. And there's no way I'm going to start going in there and drilling out the holes and popping new fibers in again and stuff. Once it's done, I like it to be done and not have to worry about that problem no more. But like I said, I used the canopy glue. I put that along a few areas, a couple inches here, a couple inches along, and all that. And just use masking tape to hold her down. Let it sit for about 12 hours or so overnight. And took the tape off, and everything held real nice. I tried to pull it apart with my fingers. I can't. You probably got to take a little knife or something like that and start to spread it in one area, and then get your something in between the seam. But it hold it together real nice without any gaps or anything. So I'm pretty happy with that. I like the way the engine's effect turned out and everything. My little garbage dump chute and all that. And once I got that all sealed up, I did fill that in with some 10,000 sheet styrene. It was a lot bigger gap than that, so yeah, I kind of cut down on that gap a little bit. I really can't get more than a piece of paper in there now, so I'm not going to lose no sleep over it. I'm happy with just the way it turned out. I think this is a good representation. I think the model itself is well worth it. If you're looking for a smaller version rather than the big 2-foot Revell one for 116, 120 bucks, I think this is a good representation for $26. I think maybe I spent another $10 for my fibers that I needed to complete it with. LEDs I had laying around, so maybe all total, paint, I had that laying around. Maybe all total, you might spend about $50 on this compared to maybe $150 or so to build a bigger one. This doesn't take up as much space. It's still fairly good size at 16 inches and a little bit better than 8 inches wide, and it's about 4 inches tall from bottom to the top. And I think it's a pretty good, good detailed. Once it's painted up, and I did add all that extra detail up there. But once it's painted up, those panel lines really don't look all that bad. They don't stand out as much as they do on a shiny piece of plastic. I got this sealed with just Tester's flat dull coat. Flat, not semi-gloss or nothing like that, or that. So, but I'm happy with the paint. Those little different highlighted panels in there. They don't show up much in daylight or lighter conditions, but in the evening, they show up real nice in evening, like low lit areas and stuff. You can pick out a few of them there and all that. A lot of them up on top of the main structures and stuff, but they really show up better in kind of like a medium light. A little bit darker than what it is now, but not where it's real dark. You can't even tell what color the ship is and everything. Then so, but that's all. That's my Star Destroyer. It's as far as the model goes, the model's all finished up, and I'm gonna take a couple days off here. It's Daytona 500 weekend, so I'll be watching the Daytona 500, all the stuff this weekend. I'm into the NASCAR, like I mentioned in another video, and then probably next week I'll probably work on a base. Once the base is finished up, I'll come back with a video showing you the whole completed project. But this is just the model part itself right now, and I'll probably do another one maybe in a day or two with the with low light, maybe later on this evening. Who knows? Depends what I got going. So, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the build series. The different tips and different things that I did to build it, and different steps I took, or different techniques I used. I tried to. It gives you guys some ideas as far as like what I did with those fiber optics to make them look more like floodlight effect and everything. Hope some of the tips maybe were helpful to you guys. I know I had some guys asking me questions. I was giving out some answers the other night to a couple gentlemen and stuff on different things. How I do the fibers, what you can and can't do as far as bending them and stuff. And anybody's got questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Usually I get back within the same day or two. And I'll try to do my best to answer your questions if you have any. I tried to do as many videos of this while I was doing different parts of the build, showing the ship while it was open. But once I got the side fibers on, I couldn't wait to get her sealed up and see how she looked. So, but that's pretty much my last video where it left off. That's all I had left to do, so you guys pretty much seen the internals and stuff. I know I flipped it over and showed that in the video, but that's pretty much it for now. And hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you guys keep following. I'm going to do a few more videos in the next few weeks of some naval ships that I built and all that over the past year and all that, and most of my models I'm into Star Trek mainly. Never followed Star Wars that much, but this is just a kit that wasn't very expensive. It's a good representation of the Star Destroyer, better than that old AMT one from years ago. It's got really great detail. Like I said, there's a lot of detail on here that's like carbon copy of the big Revell as the Star Destroyer model. For instance, that bridge area is carbon copy. You hold the two together, other than size difference, they're identical in what detail is molded into them. So if anybody was hesitant, if weren't sure if they wanted to build this one but couldn't afford the big one, get this kit, man. It's worth it. It doesn't take a whole lot of work, just a little time and patience to modify things and get it looking like a regular built-up model. But something that was meant to be a little kind of like a build and play type thing is actually a pretty nice model to put on display and add to your collection of light up models, or even if you don't light it up and you just do custom lighting for the engines rather than the lights that come with it. It's a nice representation, and I'm sure you'll be happy with it. So till the next video in a week or so, or in a few days, whichever comes first. Hope you got glad. Thanks for all you guys that have been following me, and hope you keep following me. And thanks to the people that hopped on aboard to see what was going on and got interested. And thanks for the questions. I appreciate. I enjoy answering questions the best I can, and hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any more questions, feel free to ask. And like a big shout out to everybody else who subscribed since then, and everybody who hit that like button. I hope you hit that like button some more, and I hope you hit that subscribe button too. So till the next video, you guys all take care. Happy modeling. Bye.